When the end of the world was approaching, my husband didn't think about how to survive but wanted to hold a wedding with his white moonlight. To make up for the regrets of his youth, I proposed divorce in public. With a faint anger on his face, he said, "I just want to give Tessa a wedding before I die. If it weren't for you, Tessa would be my wife." His friends said, "Anyway, we're all going to die. Isn't it right to let two people who truly love each other be together? Why would Phoenix marry a woman like you? You're so cruel-hearted." I didn't die in the apocalypse but was pushed off the 18th floor by Phoenix himself. I died on the spot, losing both my life and that of my unborn child. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn before I married Phoenix. 1. The end of the world came. My husband proposed divorce. He wanted to register for marriage with his white moonlight and hold a grand wedding, to make up for the regrets of his youth. Phoenix set the wedding venue on the rooftop of the 18-story building where they had fallen in love. At the wedding, Phoenix mentioned in public, "The biggest regret of my life is that I couldn't marry Tessa. Now this wish can finally come true." Completely ignoring my wishes, he used all the supplies I had stockpiled for the wedding. Looking at me viciously, he said, "We're all going to die. If we don't use them now, are we going to use them after we're dead, later?" After I learned the news and rushed to the wedding scene, the moment he saw me, his face instantly clouded over, and he said angrily, "I just want to give Tessa a wedding before I die. Can you stop making a scene? If it weren't for you, Tessa would be my wife." His voice was loud enough for everyone present to hear. His friends also said, "Anyway, we're all going to die. Isn't it right to let two people who truly love each other be together? Why would Phoenix marry a woman like you? You're so cruel-hearted." Fortunately, Phoenix is going to divorce her. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace even after death. Facing all kinds of accusations and insults, my heart was as cold as death. "Phoenix, if you want to marry her, it's only possible if my child and I die. Are you trying to trick me into getting pregnant again, using the child to threaten me?" Phoenix was indifferent. "But I only want Tessa's child," and Tessa nestled in Phoenix's arms, stroking her bulging belly. Looking at my embarrassed appearance with a victorious look, I swayed, almost spitting blood in anger. In a fit of anger, I walked over and slapped Phoenix in the face, but he was prepared, and my hand was stopped in mid-air. Phoenix grabbed my hand and roughly dragged me to the edge of the rooftop. "Who do you think you are to dare to hit me?" saying the most vicious words in a gentle tone. "Didn't you want to die? I'll grant you your wish today, along with your bastard child." Ignoring my pleas and struggles, he gave a hard push. "You owe all this to Tessa. Emilia, go to hell. Until today, I finally realized how much Phoenix hated me. I didn't die being torn apart by zombies but was pushed off the 18th floor by Phoenix himself. I died on the spot, losing both my life and that of my unborn child. 2. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn before I married Phoenix. There were still 3 months until the zombie outbreak, and everything was still in time. I had been with Phoenix for 7 years. This was also the 7th time I proposed to him, and this time he finally agreed to my proposal. At that time, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep for 3 whole days, as if in a dream. But coming back again, I realized that I was the only one who was happy. At this moment, Phoenix had a cold face, looking at his phone absent-mindedly, as if waiting for a message from someone. I was used to his cold and indifferent look before, so I didn't notice anything at that time. Now it seems that he looks completely downcast and extremely reluctant. I immediately secretly investigated and found that in these 7 years, he had been in close contact with Tessa, even more intimate than with me, his legitimate girlfriend. I bided my time and decided to give them a big gift at the wedding. The night before our wedding, I called Phoenix, in the high-definition video. On my new wedding bed, Tessa and Phoenix were entangled passionately. After they calmed down a bit, Phoenix answered the phone. A deep and hoarse voice came. "What's wrong?" There was also a faint female panting sound in my ear. "Phoenix, are you really marrying me because you like me?" When Tessa knew it was me on the phone, she mischievously wriggled in his arms. Phoenix didn't remember at all what I had just asked. "What did you just say? I didn't hear you clearly." I clearly knew that I shouldn't have any hope. In the 7 years, everything I had done for him, when he wanted to start a business, I invested secretly. No matter how much I sacrificed for him, it couldn't compare to the lethality of his white moonlight, my innocent child, my 7-year youth. I closed my eyes, my nails digging into my flesh. "Just wait, I will pay it back one by one." 3. My wedding with Phoenix was held as scheduled. Phoenix's eyes often followed the figure of someone. I looked in the direction of his gaze, and as expected, it was Tessa, so she was here too. It was so obvious, yet I had never noticed her before. Just right, the heroine of today has also arrived. Just as the host was reading the wedding wishes for the new couple, I interrupted in a timely manner, and everyone's attention was focused on me. When I spoke, I locked my eyes on the direction where Tessa was. Today, I want to especially thank a lady. This lady is the woman the groom loves the most in his heart. She is Dash. I stretched out my hand, and everyone looked in the direction I pointed. The person with a guilty conscience instantly became visibly flustered. Ms. Tessa, she was also my best friend. Today, I want to give these two people a big gift. Look at the big screen. Everyone looked forward to this, surprise, expectantly, before my words fell. The huge screen that was originally showing the happy photos of the bride and groom suddenly turned into a limited edition, high-definition, uncensored sex scene, and the protagonists were Phoenix and Tessa. The two were shamelessly entangled, and all kinds of vulgar and offensive words came out. Everyone looked at Tessa with some kind of self-evident gaze. Isn't this the groom and the bride's best friend? Oh my God, these two adulterers are so shameless. How heart-broken the bride must be. Look, this is still the bridal chamber in the picture. Such people should be drowned in a pig cage. Look, there's more, in the hotel, in the car. It's really amazing, wonderful. They really know how to play. TSK, look at these difficult poses. Not just anyone can do them. I don't know how many years they've been having an affair. If I were the bride, I'd be so disgusted. The scumbag and the slut should both go to hell. Tessa couldn't bear the malicious gazes, comments, accusations, and insults from everyone. She could hardly accept that she appeared on the screen in such a way. Her face turned pale. She covered her face with her hands, and loudly denied, "This isn't me, you've got the wrong person, this is fake, turn it off for me quickly." Phoenix was constantly busy trying to turn off the video, but he just couldn't, sweating profusely, his expression tense. His face as black as the bottom of a pot. Finally, he turned his gaze to me, as if he was going to kill me the next second. "Amelia, what are you crazy about? Turn it off for me quickly, otherwise, don't expect me to marry you." I felt like my hand was about to be torn off, and a red mark instantly appeared on my wrist. I laughed, laughing at how despicable and pathetic I was in his eyes. To the extent that he used this to threaten me. Phoenix, do I seem like such a despicable person? Picking up any trash. Do you think I would still marry you after I found out about your affair? I did like you once, yes, but I'm not without dignity. Today, it's me, Amelia, who doesn't want you. You, Phoenix, don't deserve me either. Finally, Phoenix picked up a tool and smashed the big screen to pieces. He picked up the tool and walked towards me. I looked at him defensively. Maybe the next one to be smashed was me. Fortunately, he just left a harsh word and didn't dare to smash me. "Amelia, you bitch, even if you kneel down and beg me in the future, I won't look at you again." Presumably, he had already cut me to pieces in his heart. Phoenix really lost all his face today. I picked up my wedding dress and quickly left, no longer joining in the fun, afraid that if I was a little later, Phoenix wouldn't just smash me but would chop me with a 40-meter-long knife. The main show was yet to come, for, at the same time, the limited edition, high-definition, uncensored exciting drama quickly spread on the internet. Just that at that time, everyone was too busy to pay attention to the internet. Although it wasn't online for long, it was enough to cause a heated discussion. The popularity kept rising. I spent a lot of money to hire a large number of online trolls to vividly retell the incident, combined with the descriptions of the people who were present at that time. True or false, the facts were irreversible. It would only ferment more and more. I found that I was actually quite kind. At the critical moment of life and death, I still sent them to the trending list, allowing them to feel a wave of super high attention before death came. After returning home, I didn't even have time to take a sip of water. Immediately, I continued to prepare for renovating a sturdy residence and stockpiling supplies. The legend of the end of the world was said to appear in 2 months. At that time, Phoenix didn't believe these nonsense at all and didn't allow me to stockpile supplies, saying that it was all uneducated and low-class behavior. His contemptuous eyes and extremely disgusted tone when he spoke were still vivid in my mind. I wasn't at ease at that time and still made preparations in advance just in case. But later, Phoenix, who said he didn't believe it. Used this as an excuse to hold a grand wedding with Tessa and register for marriage in the name of leaving no regrets before death. This time, I'll grant them their wish, let them get married and be locked together immediately. In my previous life, after I died, I had witnessed the destructive power of the end of the world zombies. Wherever they went, with little effort, in an instant, it turned into a ruin. With no survivors, people were like ants in front of them. I went to the property in the suburbs, spent a huge amount of money to hire professional old craftsmen in this field, and used the hardest materials to reinforce and strengthen the basement and the exterior of the house, especially the basement. I paid 5 times the labor cost to make the masters work overtime to finish it within 1 month. I also made a list and stocked up all the food and daily necessities that could be stored for a long time, filling several rooms in the basement. I also expanded a part of the basement, set the things that might be used at that time, the possible dangers, and how I should deal with them and get through the difficulties. During this period, Phoenix was looking for me everywhere. Those who didn't know might think he had turned over a new leaf, but I knew why he was looking for me. Phoenix came in a hurry, looking a bit haggard. Amelia, I never thought you would do such a cruel thing. Tessa is a girl. Are you trying to force her to death? How can she show her face outside in the future? Why did you sell the new wedding house and the house where my parents live and drive them out? They are your elders. You also threw away all my things. Those houses were the ones you said you were going to transfer to my name. Besides, you have so many properties. What's wrong with giving them to us and the company? This matter has seriously affected the company's interests. You are really too naive and selfish. Tessa was crying softly. Covering her face, Phoenix felt even more distressed when he saw this and hugged her to comfort her. Phoenix, if this is the price to be with you, I don't care. Sister Amelia has every right to be angry. It's all my fault. Tessa was clinging to Phoenix like a tree, kangaroo, being hypocritical and making people feel sick. Sister Amelia, I'm sorry, I stole Phoenix from you. If you want to take revenge, take it out on me. Please don't hate Phoenix. I'm sorry to you. I'll break up with Phoenix immediately. Please be merciful and spare Phoenix's company. It's the hard work of his many years. I watched the two of them singing in unison. It was quite interesting. Well, there was simply no room for me to speak. Tessa, this has nothing to do with you. You don't have to be humble in front of her. Amelia, I know you just want to see me by this means. Now that I'm here and you've seen me, can you stop the investors from withdrawing their capital? I can meet any of your conditions, but I won't marry you. Give up. It's impossible for us. I love Tessa. I burst out laughing, feeling like I was listening to a joke. Bah, Phoenix, who on earth gave you the confidence to think that I still like you? They are my things. I can sell them if I want. What business is it of yours? I just made public the disgusting things you did. If you hadn't done them, how could others have caught you? Phoenix, let me tell you the truth. Those who invested in you at the beginning did it because of the group behind me. Otherwise, do you really think you can reach the sky with your ability? You should weigh yourself. Without me, you, Phoenix, are nothing in Nanchang. Phoenix looked embarrassed, and his expression told me that he didn't believe what I said. Tessa added fuel to the fire. Phoenix, forget it. Sister Amelia's parents passed away early. Inevitably, the next second, a red handprint appeared on Tessa's face. My hearing is still good. I don't want to hear a single word about my parents from these people's mouths. Tessa, who do you think you are to mention my parents? Amelia, I think you're really crazy. Why did you hit someone? You're simply a shrew, a lunatic. I picked up the chair next to me and threw it at Phoenix, since you know I'm a lunatic. You still dare to come to me, you're courting death. The two of them were dodging while pointing at me and swearing, and the words were really dirty. They completely forgot who they had just been scolding as a shrew, being strict with others and lenient with oneself. Actually, before we got married, Phoenix's company had just gotten on the right track, and he really thought that all of this was due to his own efforts. Little did he know that there were too many people in the world who were willing to work hard, and not everyone would succeed. He was just a bit luckier than others. I once liked him and couldn't bear to see his efforts go to waste, so I secretly helped him behind the scenes. But he didn't know, this time, without my help. Let's see how lucky he is. Those old foxes are all good at being opportunistic. Now that I've fallen out with Phoenix, who would still dare to cooperate with his company? He's already cornered without me having to kick him when he's down, but unexpectedly, the end of the world came early this time. 5. I quickly ordered people to speed up. Fortunately, The work was coming to an end. Watching the staff continuously move the supplies to the basement, Phoenix looked at me in confusion, while Tessa, on the side, after seeing the doomsday news posted online, handed her phone to him. After reading the news, Phoenix reacted the same way as last time. His face was full of absurdity, changing from confusion to looking at me with the eyes of someone who thinks I'm crazy as I directed the staff. Amelia, you don't believe in this so-called doomsday, do you? It's simply nonsense. Only a fool would believe this. Ridiculous. Extremely stupid. Phoenix was about to continue taunting when his parents, who somehow learned the news, rushed over in a hurry. Amelia, what's going on with this house? Your uncle and I were living here well. Why did you suddenly sell it without discussing it with us? We've treated you like our own daughter. You're supposed to take care of us in our old age. Hire a few more servants. That way, you don't have to come and see us often. Just send money regularly every month. Although you and Phoenix can't be husband and wife, you've got a good brother. We're still a family. Besides, you have so much property. How can you spend it all by yourself? We're doing this for your own good. To share your burden. You know what kind of people we are. We're honest people. Yes, Amelia, what you did really isn't kind, but your uncle knows you're definitely not that kind of person. You must be too busy to arrange things for your aunt and me, right? Well, they were really honest people ever since Phoenix and I got together. After the two elders came to my house once, they just stayed. My parents passed away early, and I wasn't used to living with elders. That's why I suggested finding a more comfortable place for them to move to. They've been living there until now. If nothing had happened between Phoenix and me, it wouldn't have mattered. Not only did they live in my house, but I also sent them living expenses regularly every month and hired servants to take care of their daily lives. They didn't have to do anything, and Phoenix hardly ever asked about his parents' affairs. Even the wedding was all arranged by me. There was no betrothal gift. No gold jewelry. I planned and followed up on everything alone. They didn't have to worry about anything, just go through the motions. Fortunately, I was too busy at that time and didn't have time to transfer the house to Phoenix's name. Although these houses were nothing to me, why should I give them away for nothing? Uncle, aunt, now the group's funds are in short supply and urgently need money for turnover. So I sold all the assets in my name and still owe tens of millions. Since uncle and aunt treat me like a daughter, when your daughter is in trouble, you'll definitely help me, right? Huh? The two were stunned and immediately changed their expressions, looking as if they didn't know me. Then they seemed a bit disbelieving and looked at their son. Phoenix looked angry. Amelia, do you have to lie to them too? I shrugged innocently. I really am short of money. These things would all be destroyed in an instant in the future. So I quickly sold them. Phoenix couldn't stand such humiliation and turned to his parents and said, Mom and Dad, I'll take care of you in your old age. Don't worry, you don't have to beg others. Phoenix's mother wouldn't listen. The duck in hand couldn't fly away. Tessa is pregnant with your child, and your company is in such a state now. There will be a lot of places to spend money in the future. Why don't you still marry Amelia? This way, her money will also be yours. Tessa can live with your dad and me. We'll take good care of her and the child. I was completely shocked at that time. Amelia, what do you think? You also like Phoenix. I promise that our family will only recognize you as the daughter-in-law. You know, for a man, it's normal to have a few women outside. You should be more generous. Was the world crazy, or was there something wrong with me? Aunt, you also agree with the women that uncle keeps outside, right? She immediately got angry. How dare he? I'll chop him to death. 6. He really dared and had done so. I also found out when looking for evidence last time. If they hadn't come today, these things wouldn't have been brought up. He immediately retorted, Amelia, don't talk nonsense and stir up trouble in our marriage. Why is your heart so bad? Little girl, listening carefully, there was a hint of weakness in his words. I flipped through the information sent to me that day, which also had a copy about Phoenix's father. The degree of promiscuity was no less than Phoenix's, and it was 100 times more exciting than Phoenix's affairs. Sure enough, like father, like son, I kindly handed the phone to Phoenix's mother. The father-son duo reached out to snatch it, but it was too late. Oh, so Phoenix also knew about his father's dirty deeds. It seemed that only Phoenix's mother was kept in the dark. The more Phoenix's mother looked at it, the more ferocious her expression became, and she gritted her teeth and roared. Dante, you old bastard, how dare you fool around outside behind my back and even infect me with a venereal disease? I'll kill you, you shameless old thing. She picked up a weapon and chased Phoenix's father to beat him. Since moving into the mansion I prepared for them, Phoenix's father had been using his status as an elder to make connections. He had hooked up with many servants from wealthy families. He was having a great time and reluctant to leave. Phoenix glared at me with hateful eyes, as if he wanted to stare a hole through me. Amelia, do you have to make my family restless to be happy? I shouldn't have saved you in the first place. I should have let those punks torture you to death, so you wouldn't have ruined other people's families. How dare this person mention this matter? Phoenix, how dare you mention this? Do you really think I don't know that those punks were found by you? I also found this out when looking for evidence later. It was all about my money from the beginning. Staging a hero saves the beauty scene. Indeed, with his good looks, it worked well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so infatuated with him in my previous life. I called a few bodyguards and pointed at Phoenix. Take off all his clothes. Just leave his underwear. Save my eyes. Then throw these people out and don't let them come near here again. Phoenix looked at the people in front of him in disbelief and struggled desperately. Amelia, you're going too far. What right do you have to do this? I'll call the police and arrest you. In a few moves, Phoenix was left with only a pair of boxer shorts, and Phoenix's father, Phoenix's mother, and Tessa had long been driven out. At this time, Phoenix, naked, was swearing at me as I was drinking tea. Like a shrew cursing in the street. Amelia, you slut, you're promiscuous, shameless. Even the passing dogs thought his words were too dirty and barked at Phoenix a few times. Passers-by pointed at him and whispered. Phoenix covered his face and ran away. The few bodyguards behind couldn't help laughing. After the doomsday news was announced, there were 3 factions in the online discussion. Most people believed it, and the supplies on major online platforms were snapped up within half a day. There were also many people who thought it was nonsense and just a marketing ploy to drive up prices. Like Phoenix, there were those who were neutral, half believing, but still casually preparing. While everyone was scrambling for supplies, I was already lying on the balcony of my house, enjoying the beautiful scenery before the end of the world. If Phoenix and the others hadn't appeared in front of me, I think my mood would have been better. When I thought they were coming to pick a fight with me again, they actually had the look of coming to propose marriage. Their attitude did a 180-degree turn. 7. Amelia, we were so rude before, now we've come to apologize. You're magnanimous, don't be like us uneducated people, Phoenix's mother said, and casually handed me the fruits in a red plastic bag. I waved my hand to refuse. Who knew if there was poison in it? Come on, I have nothing to do with your family now. Didn't you say a few days ago that you were going to call the police and arrest me? I didn't hear wrong, did I? Phoenix, didn't you also say that I'm promiscuous, shameless, and so on? There were so many words, I can't remember them all. Why don't you say them again for me to hear? You scolded me so smoothly that day. Looking at the suppressed anger on Phoenix's face, needless to say, it was really satisfying. Phoenix stammered and spoke hesitantly like a girl. That day I spoke out of turn. It was my fault, I apologize to you. I'm sorry. The last few words were hardly audible. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly. Amelia, I'm sorry. All right, you've apologized. You can leave now. I won't see you out. I stood at the gate, didn't let them in, and closed the door again. Phoenix's mother quickly climbed up and tightly grasped the railing of the gate. Amelia, are you not angry anymore? Can you return the house to us? We're all staying in a hotel now. The sound insulation is poor, and the environment is harsh. Please return the house to us. We're old and can't take this kind of trouble anymore. Also, about Phoenix's company, you should go and take care of it, right? He hasn't been able to eat or sleep well these days because of these things. He's lost several pounds. If you don't help him, he won't be able to hold on this time. You were together once, weren't you? For the sake of how good he was to you in the past. You can't just ignore him. Listening to Phoenix's mother's words, I then looked at Phoenix. I wondered if he would feel guilty when he heard these. He was good to me. I'm afraid it's the other way around. One last piece of advice for you. Don't worry about these things. If you want to survive, stock up on food today and find a place to hide. What's announced online is all true. The scene is 100 times more terrifying than all the horror movies you've ever seen. I just mentioned it out of kindness. Whether they believed it or not was none of my business. Phoenix's heart wavered a bit, but at this time, Tessa stood up indignantly. Sister Amelia, if you don't want to help, then don't. There's no need to use these absurd reasons to fob us off. Phoenix's father and Phoenix's mother echoed, still not believing. At this moment, the sky suddenly changed, turning blood red, and it was getting redder and redder, but they didn't notice, or if they did, they didn't believe it. They left, cursing. As a result, after that night, the sky never brightened again. 8. On the first night of the doomsday, screams continued without end, resounding throughout the sky. No one knew where those zombies came from. The roars, bites of the zombies, the chasing, screams, and cries of humans filled the whole world. I hid in the basement and observed the outside situation through the surveillance. On major platforms, people risked their lives to live broadcast the real-time situation. As I watched, the anchors were torn apart in front of the screen while broadcasting. Death, horror, and blood filled the whole world. No one knew how long this dark and bloody doomsday would last. At this time, Phoenix and his group appeared again in the video surveillance outside my house, shouting for help. Help, Amelia, we believe you now. Please let us in. The noise outside lasted for a long time. I watched them arguing and pushing in the surveillance. This area hadn't been invaded yet. There were no survivors in front of the live broadcast cameras, only the equipment was still playing continuously. Those zombies had ferocious and terrifying faces, protruding eyes, and long and sharp fangs. Even if half of their face was bitten off, they could still get up and continue biting people. There were scenes of people eating and biting each other everywhere. There was also a half-grown child sitting on the ground, wailing loudly. The crying attracted zombies. The child didn't know what zombies were and even reached out for a hug, but what responded to him was the inhumane biting and chewing of the zombies. The moving speed of the zombies was the same as that of humans. They bit whoever they saw. The ground was dyed red with blood. Everywhere there were roars, screams, and cries, mixed together. At this moment, it seemed like a living hell. It would soon spread here. Phoenix's family climbed over the high wall and entered my yard. Phoenix's father was the last one to climb. When he was about to turn over, his leg cramped, and at this time, the zombie horde was almost here. Phoenix's father shouted anxiously from above, "Hurry, hurry up and save me." 9. When the others saw the zombies behind them, they immediately ran towards the house. In the face of life and death, human nature is selfish. When Phoenix's father looked down and saw the zombies, his pants were soaked with a large amount of liquid, which also dripped onto the ground. As Phoenix's father's screams gradually weakened until they couldn't be heard anymore, the person was gone, leaving only a puddle of water and blood on the ground. My house had been reinforced with multiple layers, and the zombies were trapped outside and couldn't get in. After Phoenix and the others felt a little relieved, they rummaged around my house for food again. They had been running for a long time and were really hungry, and there wasn't much food in the house. All of it had been moved to the basement by me. Phoenix found the remaining food in the fridge. It was enough for the three of them to last for a few days, so the few people continued to rummage through boxes and cabinets. I saw Phoenix looking intently at a piece of information in my bedroom. But his face seemed very ugly. I thought for a while and finally knew what he was looking at. Phoenix tightly clenched the information in his hand, as if he wanted to crush it. He strode to the living room and locked onto the figure. He turned over Tessa, who was sitting in the living room and still in a daze. He slapped Tessa hard in the face. "Bitch, how dare you lie to me? Tell me, whose bastard child is this?" Tessa was slapped awake this time. "Phoenix, how can you hit me? This child is yours. You still don't admit it. Look for yourself." Phoenix threw the information onto Tessa's face. Tessa picked it up with trembling hands. It was about the several men she had found because she couldn't stand being lonely. Each time it was a different group of men. "No, this isn't me. It must be Amelia who framed me. This is fake, fake." Phoenix then took out a USB drive and opened it on the device. Immediately, an unsightly and promiscuous video came out. "Is this video fake too, Tessa? So you're the one who's really despicable, you slut." Hearing the commotion downstairs, Phoenix's mother quickly came down. As a result, she saw those promiscuous scenes on the screen. You, pointing at Tessa, she was speechless. This was really an eye-opener. Without saying a word, Phoenix grabbed Tessa and pushed her outside. Besides life and death, a man's dignity is equally important. Moreover, he had such a huge cuckold on his head. She had also made him lose everything. "What are you doing? Let go of me. There are zombies outside. You can't push me out. I'll die. Tessa had a deep shadow from seeing the scene where Phoenix's father was instantly torn apart by zombies. Just thinking about it made her whole body tremble uncontrollably. A slut like you deserves to be torn apart by zombies. There are so many outside. This time it should be enough to satisfy you. Just thinking about being cuckolded. Phoenix couldn't help but want to kill. He had actually raised someone else's bastard child and given up everything for such a slut. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He completely ignored the fact that Tessa was a pregnant woman now. He punched and kicked Tessa, and even picked up a big object and hit her with it. Tessa curled up on the ground, protecting her head with one hand and her belly with the other, constantly begging for mercy. But Phoenix was indifferent, like he was possessed, beating her to death. Phoenix's mother watched from the side, shouting that it was a good beating. Such a promiscuous woman deserved to be beaten to death. Tessa had already been frightened, and now she was being brutally beaten. Soon, there was blood under her body. Seeing the bright red blood, Phoenix showed a strange smile. He mumbled to himself, "The bastard child is gone, the bastard child is gone. I'm going to beat you, this adulterous woman, to death. How dare you lie to me, make me wear a cuckold, and push me to a dead end. It's all because of you. You deserve to die, you deserve to die." Tessa's pleas for mercy became weaker and weaker, and finally there was no sound at all. When she died, her eyes were still open. Even after her death, she was still being beaten until Phoenix was too tired to continue. "She's dead. Good that she's dead. She's a damned slut." Looking at Phoenix's inhumane appearance, I wasn't surprised at all. I just felt cold-hearted. Human nature is even more terrifying than zombies. 10. After Tessa's body was ruthlessly thrown down from the top floor by Phoenix and his mother, it was immediately torn to pieces by zombies. Outside, zombies were running amok. The cries of the wounded filled the air. The smell of blood enveloped the entire earth, and it was pitch black. No one knew when the sky would brighten. Although I was relatively safe in the basement and didn't lack food, my heart was already filled with panic. But Phoenix and Phoenix's mother were not doing well. They were short of food and would starve to death if they continued to be hungry, but they couldn't go out either. Once they went out, they would surely die. Although my house had been reinforced, I wasn't sure how long it could resist. I was still thinking about whether to secretly send them some food. It was better than watching them starve to death. Having one more person to accompany me would also make me less afraid, anyway. They didn't know I was there. When I looked at the surveillance again, Phoenix's mother was gone. Only Phoenix was in the kitchen, not knowing what he was chopping. Suddenly, I felt a chill down my back. I enlarged the screen and took a look. Phoenix was chopping fresh meat. Phoenix's mother was gone, and there was no food left in the house long ago. I felt a wave of nausea. Phoenix had killed his mother. I couldn't bear to watch anymore and slowly hugged myself. Obviously, it was still June. But it was so cold here. No matter how much I tried, I couldn't get warm. The 7th day after the zombie outbreak, the 8th day, the 29th day, many of the devices outside had been damaged, and all that could be seen was a pile of ruins. At the wedding, Phoenix mentioned in public, finally, it seemed to have become a paradise for zombies. I talked to myself every day, did some exercise, and tried to calm my mind. Hold on, it will always pass. That's what I told myself, at this time. In the surveillance screen, a group of zombies was attacking the periphery of the house. The entire big house was being hit and was on the verge of collapsing. My heart also became uneasy. Phoenix was so hungry that he fell to the ground and was too weak to struggle. He could only slowly try to hide in a hidden corner, but the zombie horde had already swarmed in. Phoenix opened his eyes wide in horror, feeling the fear of instant death. Since the house couldn't withstand the impact of the zombie horde, it collapsed not long after. My connection with the outside world was also cut off. I did the same things every day. I couldn't remember how many days had passed. Looking at the dwindling food, the fear in my heart was constantly spreading. I didn't know how long the things I had stored could last, nor did I know what was going on outside. I wondered if there would be a rescue team to rescue the survivors. Finally, in the 7th month of the doomsday, I saw the figure of a human appear again on the live broadcast device that had been destroyed before. The sky finally brightened.